Peace. Jamal Robinson with 720astrology.com. Today's date is January 30th, 2024. Time is 12:19 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yesterday, I picked my son up from school, and he had a book that had been sent home for him to read. He has a book sent home every week. This little book is titled A Ship is Coming. Now, he read it to me, and as he's reading it, two major astrological themes pop up in my head. So I want to have some fun today, and if you'll bear with me and have a little patience, I want to read this short, very short book to you and then give an astrological summary at the end. Two friends, Mito and Ramiro, lived on a beautiful island. The young men dreamed of gold and jewels. One summer day, Mito and Ramiro went to the top of a mountain on the island. They looked through a telescope and carefully searched the sea. After a few minutes, Ramiro said, "I think I see something far away." "It's a large ship sailing to our island," exclaimed Mito. "Maybe it's bringing treasure." The friends returned to their village. The next day, Mito went back to the mountain with the telescope. He wanted to watch the ship as it came closer. As Mito looked at the ship, he thought about the treasures it carried. With it, he could build a big house, buy beautiful clothes, and eat the best food. He could marry a wonderful woman and have a happy family too. Ramiro wanted to be rich just like Mito, but he stayed in the village to find a job. He found a job as a baker's helper. Ramiro learned to bake. He knew that someday he would be a good baker and have his own bakery. Mito found some wood and made a chair. He wanted to have a place to sit while he watched the ship. He looked out at the sea and waited. In the village, Ramiro worked hard. He was happy with his work. Ramiro met a smart young woman named Sarita, and they fell in love. Mito sat on the mountain staring through the telescope for hours every day. He sat for many days and weeks. Sometimes the ship seemed close, and other times it seemed far away. Mito waited and waited for the ship because he dreamed of treasure. One day, Ramiro and Sarita got married. Many people came to their wedding because they had lots of friends. They were very happy. A year later, Mito watched as the ship seemed to turn toward the island. As weeks passed, he sat and watched the ship. Month after month, Mito stared out at the sea. Ramiro and Sarita liked baking and working together. Soon they opened their own bakery in the village. Many people came to their bakery, and their business grew. As he saw the ship getting closer, Mito jumped up. In his excitement, he dropped the telescope. It fell and smashed on the rocks below. Even without a telescope, Mito could see that the ship was still far away, but he kept waiting. Ramiro and Sarita lived in a large house with a beautiful garden. Ramiro and Sarita's first child was born. Over many years, their happiness and their family grew. It was a clear, calm day when Mito saw the ship arriving at the village harbor. Finally, his dreams of treasure would come true. He raced down the mountain. As Mito entered the village, he shouted, "The ship is here." Then Mito ran to meet the ship, but it wasn't a ship. It was just logs and seaweed. Mito cried because he knew that he had been very foolish to wait for years. Ramiro and his family went to the harbor. Mito saw them and said, "My goodness, time has passed, Ramiro. You have a beautiful wife and children." Ramiro and Sarita invited Mito to come to their house for dinner. Later that night, Mito sat with Ramiro and Sarita in their home. He looked at their 4 children and at the fine meal on the table. Mito thought about the years that he had wasted. "Children," said Mito sadly, "do not make my mistake. Do not stop living your life for a foolish dream." Now, astrologically, 2 things really popped up in my mind, and one is based on a current transit. Currently, Saturn is in Pisces. Now, Saturn in Pisces can go different ways, like any other aspect. Negatively, Saturn can be very limiting in Pisces and promote a lot of fear. Positively, Saturn, the taskmaster, blended with Pisces, the dreamer, can be amazingly beneficial when it comes to realizing a dream. The character Mito in this book has a vision, he and Ramiro, but Ramiro didn't become fixated on what he thought he saw, which Pisces is associated with illusions. That's why Pisces is also associated with Hollywood, movies, the world of illusion, Disney. Disney came into its heyday during a Saturn and Pisces transit. Mito got caught up in the dream, in the illusion. And then by the time it's all said and done, he comes to realize that what he thought he saw was not really what it was. He was waiting on a ship to come in, and he stopped living. He stopped doing the day-to-day things that are necessary to sustain life and to have success and evolution. Saturn in Pisces gives us an amazing opportunity to realize a dream. Isabel Hickey, in her book, Astrology of Cosmic Science, says that Saturn represents the first law of manifestation. She doesn't explain why I go any further, but through my deduction, I have come to the realization that Saturn would apply to that, because Saturn creates walls or limitation. And many times when we talk about limitation, we think of it negatively. But when it comes to manifesting a dream, Pisces, we need to be able to trap it and confine it, if we want to use those words. The word goal, when we talk about having goals, the word goal comes from the word jail, which means to confine something. Not all confinement is bad. For you to attain some vision you have, some idea, some dream, there has to be some type of foundation and wall built around it to apprehend it. And what Mito missed out on in this book is he didn't do the day-to-day stuff that Saturn requires. Saturn requires the day-to-day work. You can dream all the dreams you want to dream, but if you don't remember to chop wood, carry water, they will not just fall out of the air, fall out of the sky. The ship just won't sail in and come to you like all of a sudden I sat here and waited, and here it is. It's not how it works. Saturn would represent the first law of manifestation, because the first law is to act as though it already exists. So work ethic is not just about morals and things of that nature. Work ethic is based on an idea that I am working towards something that already exists. Many people cannot achieve the dreams and goals that they have, supposedly, because they don't really believe in it themselves. If you know a Capricornian, that work that they do, where they become the hermit and they may steal away from the rest of the world, but they're meticulously working towards something, building something. And sometimes Capricorn can seem a little selfish, or a lot of selfish. Well, what they can teach us is that they can fall back into self and contract into self, so that they can procure the necessary resources or energy to climb the mountain. When the sun goes into Capricorn and sits still, it is sitting still to regain strength, because the sun now has to climb from the Tropic of Capricorn to the point where it is at its highest, the Tropic of Cancer. So Capricorn is very magical in that they are already preparing to be at the top of the mountain. That's why Capricorn can take the vision or the idea of Sagittarius and then make it a reality, because they're going to do the necessary work to climb the mountain. So Saturn, as the ruler of Capricorn, brings that energy into Pisces if we are allowing it to flow, if we are accepting the task ahead, if we are accepting the challenge. putting on our climbing shoes, our climbing gear, and getting ready to climb the mountain. That is how the dream is realized. Ramiro did not sit and wait on the ship. He went out and became the ship. Saturn, as the ruler of the three-dimensional world, teaches us how to bring in that which is beyond into this world by always remembering to chop wood and carry water. Another theme in this book, the telescope. Mito is sitting up on the mountain watching far away with the telescope. This brings to mind the detriment position of Mercury when it is in Sagittarius, because Sagittarius deals with long distance travel, which metaphorically is also vision. An idea, a philosophy, a perspective is one where we see far down the road. If it's beautiful to look down the road, but the danger with Mercury and Sagittarius is that Mercury has to learn how to not overlook what's immediately surrounding it. In other words, to not be looking so far down the highway that somebody swoops in front of us and then we have a rear end because we were not paying attention to what was immediately around us, our immediate surroundings. Mito spent so much time looking way out to see the ship come in that he forgot to live, and he forgot to look at what he could be doing right here. Mercury is geared for short distance travel. That's why it rules Gemini. Commuting, getting to work every day, getting to what you need to do every day, here and back, here to and fro, here and back. Those small commutes, think about it, just common sense. Those small commutes, let's just say going to work or going into your business, showing up every day, that short commute to your business where you are conducting commerce, another word for Mercury, commuting, commerce, communication. Those short trips can then allow you to take that long distance trip on your vacation. But if you overlook the short distance stuff, the stuff that's right around you, then the long-term plan, the long-term vision is never realized. Just a little quick astrological nugget. Jamal Robinson, 720astrology.com. Know the stars to know yourself.